Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much. I've been having some issues. And yeah. All right. So bear with me for a second, and we will get this thing going. Let me just make sure. All right. There's Laura. I gotta make sure. Hey, Laura, let me just bring you on.
Okay.
What's going on, Laura? How are you?
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. Just making sure everything's up and running.
Okay.
Like soundtracks and whatnot. All right. So I'm gonna take you off so everybody can see you, and then we're gonna just jump on into it. Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I am on vacation, but not really on vacation because I'm working. But welcome to the Abnormal Notary YouTube channel. I appreciate each and every single one of you for joining. Today is an awesome day because we have Laura Biewer on the Abnormal Notary channel, and we're going to be talking about general notary work, okay? And what does that mean? I think a lot of the times we find ourselves in one lane, which is loan signing, right? We say, okay, is there anything else in the world that I could be doing? God forbid if loan signing stops. So Laura Biewer has been in the game for over 16 years. She is the founder of the Notary Symposium, Coach Me Laura, one of the hosts of Tuesday Titans with Bill Soroka and Carol Ray. So I am honored. If you guys do not know who I am the Abnormal Notary. You can find me on my Instagram as the Abnormal Notary, Facebook, Clubhouse. I am listed as everythingtye. So my goal really is just to provide you guys information, drop gems, provide leading voices in the notary community, and hopefully abroad. I think that it is important that we all connect and we learn and we join forces together and we be patient. So with that being said, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And yeah, let's rock out. Let's go. Laura, welcome.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
What a great day it is today.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking up the time on a beautiful Saturday to meet with me. So I'm gonna just give it to you. If you can just introduce yourself to everybody. If they don't know you, that's okay. They will know you today. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me today. I'm Laura Biewer, and I'm in Modesto, California. I have been a California notary as of January 17 years, and I've spent that time trying to expand all things notary. And so that means more than just knowing how to fill out a certificate. It means I've studied the office of the notary, what I'm allowed to do, how is that different from other states. I started teaching notary classes for the National Notary Association for the mandated training for the state of California. And then I started doing some hotline work for them. And I really got a good picture of how different it is, even though we have the same job title across the United States, in what we're allowed to do and how we're allowed to do that. So one of the things I observed is that some states have training, some states don't have training, some states have minimal training. Even my state, which has 6 hours of training and testing, notaries get out there and they have difficulty applying the statutes or the rules in real life situations. It's like taking the DMV written test and then saying, okay, now you know enough, go ahead, just drive the car. And so I wanted to make a difference for us and for the public that we serve. And the way I do that, one is I do the work. I am the best notary I can be, and I serve the public doing loan signings and lots of niches or specialty work. And then the other way I do that is that I coach other notaries to be the best they can be. And I find different ways to do that. Notary Symposium is one, was a live event, went virtual this year. Other one is one-on-one coaching. Other one is YouTube videos, TNT, as you mentioned. Lots of ways for me to get out there and help notaries understand there's a bigger picture. And there are two of them. One is the work that you do and the accountability and responsibility that goes with it. And the other one is, hey, if you're in business of being a notary, there's a lot more out there than loan signings. So let's start to understand what else is available to us. And that's what I hope to share today, particularly, is that there is much more available to us, whether it's just other forms of notary work or complementary work that works well with the mobile notary business.
Yeah, that's good. So I have a question. If you were, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick, Laura.
Okay.
If you were to pick between general notary work and loan signing, which one would you pick and why?
Okay, so I call it specialty work, but everybody else knows that it's general work. And the reason is that it's the variety, number one, the variety of work, from adoptions to living trusts, to going to a jail, to going to a hospital, to taking care of hospice patients. The variety of work and service I can provide is huge. That's one reason. The other reason is that it's easier in the sense of I'm not dealing with signing services who take a piece of my pie. I'm not dealing with title companies, third parties that I have to, I have like 5 clients, by the time I'm done with the job. Whereas when I work directly with the public or an attorney or whoever it is, that's my customer right there. And so I can give them my best and I understand what they need from me because it hasn't been filtered by who knows how many different voices along the way and boilerplate instructions that may or may not apply today. It's not that loan signing business is bad. I do it. It's probably 20%. Right now, more like 30, 40% of my business temporarily. So it's not that I don't think it's good work. I just think that there's some better work out there for me. That's just a better fit for my personality, which is I know what I'm doing. And then let me do it. Respect me and let me do what you've hired me to do.
Yeah, I think that is so important because I would tell you, I've been a loan signing agent since May of last year. I've done a lot of loan signings, assignments, and to wait 30 days, 40 days sometime just to get paid, it's it can be a lot. You know what I mean? Especially when you're starting. You may not be eating for a little bit because people don't know you, right? You got to get your name out into the community. So yeah, I have to agree with you. Yeah.
And that I didn't even mention that part that you just did, which is I get paid most of the time at the table.
Yes.
And if I am dealing with an attorney or a third party, I'm getting paid usually within 3 to 5 days. It's a very quick turnaround.
So talk to me a little bit about that. So you deal with attorneys a lot in California, because California has a lot of crazy rules and laws as it comes to notaries and notarial acts. So can you expand a little bit on that?
So yes, the attorney work that I do falls into a couple different categories. The biggest category would be living trust work. And so for those of you who don't know what a living trust is, it's a vehicle. It's a set of documents that help you communicate how you want things done while you're alive if you're not able to say so. So for instance, powers of attorney, healthcare, those kinds of things, as well as what would you like to have happen with your stuff when you're not here anymore? How would you like that distributed? So last will, for instance. And then beyond that, there are tax advantages because of that vehicle. Your assets don't go through probate, which in California can be up to 2-year process. So if you own property in California, a will doesn't keep you out of probate. A will just is a list of your wishes, and you're going to tell the probate court, here's how I'd like to see my stuff be distributed. And then you're going to pay 1 to 2% of the gross worth of your estate to that probate court and those attorneys. So this is a way for you to avoid that and allow your assets to pass directly. And of course, every state has a different threshold before probate kicks in. So for those who are going to get a living trust, which is, I personally, if you own property in California, is a great idea because the threshold's 150. And I don't know any properties that are under 150 in California. It's kind of hard to find that.
Right? Exactly. That's like New Jersey, New York.
Okay, so there you go. So I work with attorneys who have clients and they've decided to get a trust. They prepare the documents. Now they need a notary to come in, and some of them have receptionists who are also notaries, or legal secretaries who are also notaries. And you might be thinking, well, what do they need you for? Well, because sometimes they need me after hours. Sometimes they need me to go to the client's home because the client can't come to them and they don't want to have their other employee leave the office. Sometimes the notary is the attorney. He's both hats, and he doesn't want to be wearing both hats at the same time, trying to present his documents, answering questions for his clients, and notarizing documents, because it doubles the time, and his billable time is much more valuable, right, at $200-300 an hour than what we make as notaries. And even if he does have somebody who does that, they get sick, they leave, their commission has expired, and there's a lapse. There's just so many reasons why they need a mobile notary instead. And I love that work. And now I don't print any of these documents, and I'm being paid the same thing I get paid for loan signings. You know, I can get $150-200 for each one, and I just show up and I do the notarization work. Okay, I don't have any. Think about all the other activity you have to do in a loan signing, and the paper and the toner and your capital equipment and the scanner, right? All this stuff, and you got to go to the mail depot. When I work with attorneys, I don't have to do any of that stuff. I like it. And I like that I can build relationships one-on-one. How do you build a relationship with a text? You know, those cattle call texts that are sent out. How do you build a relationship? How do you get answers? How do you set up an appointment that's good for them and good for you when you can't have one-on-one communication? In doing specialty work, you're working either with your client, or if you're working with, say, an attorney or a third party, it's that one person and you're that one notary, and you get to know them. And I have a lot of repeat business with not hundreds of attorneys, maybe a dozen, because I don't need hundreds, right? I'm just working directly with them, and they know who I am and they know what I can do. And there are times when they're busy and I'm in the room, they say, Laura, could you pick up and continue presenting? And I got to go take care of something and I'll be right back. So they trust me and they respect me and the knowledge that I have. So, and the knowledge notaries, when you're doing general work, is much more than notarizing documents. And that's really mostly what you're doing, is just notarizing the documents that are presented there for you. But when you're doing the specialty work, I need to know a little bit more about the recording laws. I need to know health and safety laws. I need to know many other laws on the books that impact what I do.
Yeah, that's good. So, Laura, this is what I'm gonna tell you. So it looks like a lot of people are wanting to ask some questions. Before we get back into it, there's some issues on my chat. So I know that someone just hit me and said the comments aren't showing. There's something going on. I'm not sure. So if you, so unfortunately I cannot see the comments. But if you guys are on my Instagram, if you're following me on the Abnormal Notary, just hit my Instagram with your questions, and I'll read them aloud to Laura, so we can keep it moving. So I do apologize about that. Not sure what's going on, but again, hit my Instagram, the Abnormal Notary, with your questions, and we'll get them answered on the show. Okay, so Laura, I wanted to talk really about the loan signing, because I have done loan signing for a little bit, right? And I'm at the point that I'm burnt out. So now I'm focusing on consulting and mentoring, right, in the abnormal way that I do it. But I found that people don't really truly understand not necessarily the complexity of loan signing, but how much management you have to do for your toner, your paper clips, right? Those are all costs that are associated to being a loan signing agent versus specialty work, right? You have people bringing their documents to you, or you may be going to them, and you're getting paid right then and there. You set the dollar amount that you want to get paid versus, hey, I have to negotiate you for $60. And then on top of that, I have to do a scan back, which you're going to fight me on if I want to add extra money. So I think what you're talking about is So I want to drill down further into general notary work. So let's talk about Permit Runner. Have you heard of Permit Runner? I'm sure you have.
I know what that is, and I have done it myself. And it's not, here's the thing is I'm in a position now where I can cherry pick the kinds of assignments that I want to take on. And so I've tried field inspection work, and I've done permit running, and I've done a lot of things. And what I found I like the best is it's the notary stuff. So my all of my streams of revenue from specialty work is because they really need a notary, not just somebody who could go down and stand in line at the county recorder's office and get something, recorded, or go down to a city hall to get a permit set up. So that was my choice. But I will say that it was very simple work. I charged a fee. Now it's a travel plus a wait fee, because you got to stand in line when you get down there. It's not just drop it off. So you got to figure out a little bit, what is it worth for you to go down to your recorder's office or city hall's office where it has to happen, stand in line. And of course, you've got to make sure they give you the fees for the permit or for the recording fees, whatever it is you're doing, to take care of that. And then what's the agreement? If it's recording, you're probably leaving the document there and it's going to be mailed to them. If it's a permit, what's going to happen there? So that you get enough, you calculate enough fee to make it worth your time to do that. So for me, it wasn't a good use of my time. So I choose not to do it.
Okay.
But it's not that it's not good work. It is good work. As a matter of fact, in Florida, it's very popular. Cynthia,
I think she's the creator of the permit runner.
Notary, CYN, Notary. She's in Florida, and she has a whole class just on that.
Yeah, she has a link, because I'm always giving them. I don't know the queen personally, but her course looks like it's pretty detailed and it seems pretty cool. So I'm always promoting her. I've never met her, but I've heard good things about the course. So yeah,
I met her probably 10 years ago in a conference.
Okay.
Before she even started her business, she was just brand new, getting going. And she's fabulous. So if you have the opportunity, if that's of interest to you, it's not an expensive course. It's a good investment. And even if you choose not to do it, it broadens your knowledge. It might help you meet people you wouldn't otherwise meet that may need your other kinds of services that you can offer. And that's the thing about doing this kind of work, is I'm meeting other attorneys. That's, adoption work. I'm meeting other people in other specialties. I'm doing things that bump in and let me stumble in to business I wouldn't otherwise maybe have realized existed for me.
Exactly.
There's a broader spectrum there when you're doing specialty work or niche work than when you're just working with the same signing companies and title companies doing the same
over and over again. Yeah. So I think that's good. So for me, you mentioned something when you said permit runner, and you said you were standing in line, and you said that's a fee. A lot of people have questions in regards to fees as it relates to states. Hey, can I charge an admin fee for this? Or can I charge a travel fee for this? Or do I do it per mile? Do I do it per county? Do I do it per city, right? Can you talk a little bit about just what your thoughts on our whole travel price sheet?
Okay, so a couple things. One is everybody's in a different state. And there are a couple of states that this is not the best work for you. You're not going to make great money off the notary part because there's a restriction on you can't charge a travel fee. So if you're in a state like that, and I think Maryland might be one and North Carolina's one, then doing this niche work may be more difficult. What you want to do is niche work that's non-notary, right? So the permit runner, there's no notary stuff going on there. There's no restrictions on that. So you would pick things that don't require the commission. All right, so that's the first thing. All 50 states are the same. The second thing is, let's just talk about travel. Another one is Arizona has, I think, a mileage, and Nevada has certain times of the day. You can charge this much or you can charge that much. So I've named 4 states so far that have some certain restrictions. So the first,
yes, you have.
Know your state laws. Okay, if they didn't train you, it's still on you if you decide to operate. So make sure you know what those laws are. Now, let's just talk about the other 44 states where I don't think there's any big restriction around travel fees. You could do it by the mile. You can do it by the minute. You can do it as a flat fee. You could do it as a tier. You could do it by type. So I have a combination, and I probably have the most freedom in California. So I have a neighborhood rate. Hey, you're right in my neighborhood. You're going to get my lowest tier. And if it's in your home in my neighborhood, it's not going to be as expensive for you. Plus, of course, we get $15 per notarization, which is fabulous. So yeah. So I don't have to have a big fat travel fee because I already got $15.
You already got it, yeah.
On notarization. 2, I've already got $30. 3, I got $45 right there. So yeah, if you're in California and you're not doing this kind of work, you're leaving money at the table is all I can say. Now, if you're in a state where you only get $2 for your notarization, then it's all about convenience and access that you're selling. It's not the notarization. I wouldn't even charge for the notarization. I'd be just charging the service fee. And of course, for me, again, I tier it up with, you know, my neighborhood is pretty much 5 minutes around me, any direction you want to go, this is your fee. If you're in my city, but you're further out, then this is my fee. And if you're out of my city and you're in one of those other cities that surround me, here's my fee. After that, you got to negotiate with me because I'm not really interested in traveling that far.
Yes.
Within those tiers, if it's an office, I charge a little more. And if it's a hospital, it more than doubles the fee because hospitals require me to park in the South 40. Sometimes I got to pay to park. I got to walk all the way to the entrance. I got to go through. Some have metal detectors. Some have check-in systems. Wow. Then I got to go navigate the elevators and finally find my client. I just added another 10 or 15 minutes of my time. So when I quote for a hospital, it's more expensive than coming to your home where I can park in your driveway and just walk up to your door. And when I go to jails and do jail work, again, the parking's farther. I have a very big wait time. It's a very short time once I get to the inmate, not a problem. But I have to wait for a sheriff to come escort me. I've got to be checked in. I've got to go through the metal detector. We have a pretty big jail. It's huge. And so I can walk it's like blocks to get to where I have to go, take care of my business, and then come back out and meet the family. And which, by the way, the jail isn't hiring me. It's family members, it's friends, it's attorneys. That's really? Just so you know, because people are like, how do I make a relationship happen with the jail? You don't. It's outside that you're making the relationships. So anyway, so they, and you know what? It's like $100. It's not worth it for me to go unless I'm making at least $100. And then my notarization's on top. So can you see that a lot of people think, how do you make a living on, $15? That's all you can charge.
Right.
So I have all these other fees. So I have frequently attorneys who are outside my area, but they have a client inside my area. They call me. They say, hey, I need a document notarized for my client who's in your town. Great. What else do you need? Well, here's what I'd like. I want to email it to you. Would you print it for me in 2 copies? Would you take it to them? Would you notarize their signatures? Would you scan it before you ship it back to me?
Yeah.
Fee.
Yes.
$100 appointment right there for one notarization. Because look how many different services I provided. And the only one that was regulated was the notary fee. Everything else based on my business model, what I think is fair for me to make a profit for that assignment.
Okay, so you said you dropped so much, and I'm trying to make sure that I capture everything. To me, I think a lot of people are afraid when they set a fee. So I'll give an example. So me as a newbie, when I first started, all I wanted to do was get my first assignment. So I lowballed. This is what I did, Laura. I would call. They would get my my Google ad that I put up. And I'm like, hey, Ty, I saw your ad and I have, a POA I need help with. You go through the whole spiel. Right. This is what I say, Laura. Okay, so sir, how much is that worth to you? $5, Ty. What? So me, I didn't put in my travel time. I didn't put in my $2.50 for New Jersey. All I wanted was that customer to say, hey, okay, $5. But then I was like, okay, I can't do $5. I can do $20. I'm still shortchanging myself. Yeah. But you get afraid because you want customers coming in. So I think a lot of people are hesitant on fees that they should charge because they want to build their customer base, right? They want to get customers coming in. So how can you remove that anxiety and letting people know that, hey, you are worth what you put your dollar for? You are worth the amount that you're saying, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm going to charge you $45. Okay.
And I think because I start my conversations with understanding what their needs are, I don't talk about money until the end because I want them to understand this is not a stamp and sign situation. They've got whatever their document is. So first of all, I'm very knowledgeable about these documents that I do often, powers of attorney, the different kinds, why they're used. I don't give legal advice, but I help them see that I understand what their document's about and why it's important to them. I help them with that knowledge by saying, okay, I believe that kind of document. Do you see any place on there for a witness? Because you may need witnesses there when I come. You know, I use my knowledge to help prompt them to make sure they're prepared for a document to be notarized successfully when I get there. And now I'm not sitting there waiting at the table while they're scrambling, trying to figure out, you know, more ID, or they need a witness, or what's going on, because that's sucking up my time. So I do a lot of vetting in my calls up front. I do a lot of sharing, either my experience and a lot of my background. Before I was a notary, I ran a facility for elderly. I ran a 6-bed. And so I started out giving away, I gave away my work to anybody who was in a long-term care facility of any kind, because notaries really didn't want to go there at the time. It wasn't seen as a business model. Anyways, it was just about the loan signings. So I volunteered, and I did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free ones in hospital settings, skilled nursing, all of this, and got to know what kinds of documents are requested and what are the issues with them, what prevents them from getting notarized. And I use that now in my phone calls, because by the time they're done with me and they finally say, oh, and by the way, what are your fees? Then I let them know, okay, so let me summarize. You're going to have a document there that you're going to fill out. I'm going to check that it's complete. I'm going to verify who you are. I'm going to take care of that notary certificate. And the fee for that is going to be this $15 for the state fee, the notarization fee, because I always have to separate it. In my state, I must quote it separate from my travel. And then for everything else I'm doing for you, that's going to be X amount of dollars. Now, after they already spent 5 or 10 minutes with me, understanding their own situation better, they don't care about the money part of it. They're not looking to shop. And because I'll tell them, and you know what? Every notary can charge a different fee. The state fee is the same, but we can all charge different. Would you like to shop around? No, you've been very helpful. Let's make an appointment. So I see that I don't see Ty, and I hope you still see me. So I'll keep talking, and I hope Ty is going to come back to me. But I focus on knowledge, skill, assisting them beyond just filling out their certificate. If they don't know where to go, if they're taking care of a quitclaim deed, I'll ask, did you know that that needs to be recorded at the county recorder's office where the property is? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, where is that? Okay, for Stanislaus County, it's over on I Street. They're open from this time to this time, and I believe you're going to have about this much in recording fees. So look at all the extra value-added information I provide. And because of that, nobody blinks an eye at what I charge. So that's how I focus on the value you give rather than the price you charge. What do you think, Ty? Are you back? Because I feel all alone.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I see.
Am I back?
Yeah, I see you now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a horrible connection, so I apologize. Horrible connection.
That's okay. But did that help when you look at it that way? People aren't looking at the price.
I think it's important that people truly understand their fees. They understand their state laws. They understand what they can and cannot charge. They understand that, hey, I'm just not arbitrarily just going to throw a number out there just because it sounds good, right? You're really going to understand your numbers, right? So yeah, I think what you hit is perfect. So I do have some people in the room, Laura, but I'm having some serious technical difficulties. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. All right. So Justice asked one quick question. She said, what was the Florida course again? We were talking about the permit runner when you mentioned permit runner is really good in Florida, right?
Yeah. Cinnanotary.com, I believe, is her website, and that's the permit runner.
Perfect. All right. So as I told everybody, I'm having a very horrible connection. So I do apologize, you guys. I'm not getting the comments coming over to my YouTube channel because I think I did something with the restrictions. So if you have questions, please hit my Instagram on my DM and I will ask the questions. So Laura, before we go in a little bit further, I want to ask a couple of questions that people have hit me on my Instagram, if that's cool.
Yes.
Okay. All right, awesome. All right, so the first question came from Linda. She wants to know, because North Carolina is an attorney state, what do you think is better, signing or general notary work, that someone in an attorney state could get potentially more income versus the other?
Okay, so first, I believe South Carolina is the attorney state. I do not believe North Carolina is the attorney state. Somebody can check me on that.
Yeah, so that's the dilemma.
So
yeah, because everybody said that North Carolina is an attorney state.
North Carolina
sure.
isn't a problem for doing loan signings. North Carolina is the problem for having a restriction, $5, and they don't care what you call it, you can't charge any more. It's just how their Secretary of State has interpreted the law. And so as long as that interpretation stands, there's nothing you can do about that. So what else could you do that's complementary, that's not notary, but provides mobile service? That's what I would focus on, is like the permit runner would be an example of one. An inspection person would be an example of one. Anything that's not anything to do with notarization, but leverages mobility. You bring service to them. That's what you can be doing, because that is not regulated by Secretary of State. But when it comes to a notarization, you are done. There's no way for you to add a charge to anything. So until that changes, my focus would be, what can I do that's not notary, but mobile? Okay, does that answer that for Linda?
Okay. Yeah, that answered my question. I'm getting this connection's horrible, Laura. So I apologize deeply. Okay. So let me get to the next question. 1 second. So the next question, and this happens, y'all. So when you have live events, things are going to happen. So, what can you do? Okay. So the next question comes from Lucia. She's interested in apostille work.
Yeah.
So have you done apostille or apostilles? How do you really say it? Apostille?
Apostille.
Okay.
And yes, I do that work. And you can do it with or without notarization. So what happens for me is on my website, and I have people come and they need a document notarized that's going out of the country. So it needs to be authenticated that I'm a valid notary. And usually, not always, but usually it's at the Secretary of State level that this is happening, because they are our administrator, right? And they can verify us. And so I notarize the document. I get it to the state capitol where Secretary of State is at, and they take care of issuing another certificate that goes with my certificate that says we're the Secretary of State and we verify she's a valid notary. They also verify that I performed the notarization properly. So that means if you're new, I wouldn't be doing apostille work, because your boss, your administrator, is going to see your work. And if they see you're not filling out certificates correctly or doing things per the law, they gotcha right there. They will say something about it, and they'll reject the document for the customer. So make sure you know what you're doing. And so anyways, I charge for the notary fee and the travel fee. Then I have a charge to facilitate the apostille, which means they pay me to make sure I get it there, get it done, and either back to them, or they gave me a FedEx label for it to go on to where it's got to go. And those can be hundreds of dollars. The last 3 that I did,
wow,
was $250. One was $500. One was $700. So the thing is, not all 700 came to me. Part of that went to fees for the Secretary of State's apostille. It's like $26 a pop.
Right.
So part of that money went there. Part of it went to FedEx to get it out that way. I work with a partner. So if you're in California, many of you know I work with Naz Stieber, who's in Sacramento, and she walks it in for me. So I just get it over to her. She walks it through, and then gets it back to my client or out. And she takes pictures of all of the certificates so that I can demonstrate it was completed if it doesn't come back to them. And I love that. And sometimes people ask me just for the apostille work, they don't need it notarized. So
that's the question I was going to ask you. Because a lot of people believe that you need a notary to do an apostille or an apostille. It's not necessarily true, correct?
Yeah, like there's a background check. The background check is not notarized by a notary, and that doesn't go to the Secretary of State. That actually goes to the of your state. It goes to the federal level Secretary of State. So background check is not notarized by us, but it can be apostille, and it's done at the federal level. So I still have a facilitation fee. I don't have a notary fee, but I'll have a facilitation fee to help them get that done. Now, people can do this for themselves, by the way. They don't have to have a professional intercede, but most of them don't know what to do. And that's what they're paying for. They're paying me for my knowledge, right? I'm the hack. I'm the one that knows how to get it done efficiently. That's what they're paying for. And that is worth money. Right? The more you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Right? You hire a plumber and in 2 seconds he fixed the problem. And you're thinking, why did I get $100 bill for that? Because of all the skill and knowledge that he brings, that made it 2 seconds.
Yes.
How long would it have taken you to do it? If you could have done it.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
Yes. They're paying me to take care of something very important for them that they don't either trust or believe they can do it for themselves, or they're just too busy to do it for themselves. And it's worth it to them to pay for somebody else's knowledge and or time.
Yes, I agree. And I think that I'm kind of going to plug Judith Lawrence. You and I, Bill Soroka, and I believe Jamie are on a call next Saturday with Judy Lawrence, right? We call her the Queen of Apostles. So if you guys do not know who she is, please follow her on Facebook, Instagram. She knows her thing about apostilles. So yeah, Laura, that was awesome. Okay, so next question. This is from Beautiful Signatures. It says, I love to do wills and trust work. Is there a special training needed if you're in North Carolina?
So there's not specific certification or training to notarize those kinds of documents. However, it's, if you want to get this kind of work, then you need to understand what their business is about. You need to know their lingo. You need to be able to speak to them on their level. So if you don't know anything about it, it's going to be more difficult for you, other than haphazardly being called. And then you're just seen as the notary, not anything more. So I do actually training on those kinds of documents. I have a video library called Laura Biewer Presents, and you can go to notarycoach.com/LBP for Laura Biewer Presents, and you can see all the different specialties. Each video is maybe in 90 minutes. The trust one is 2.5 hours with sample documents, so that you understand, well, what is a trust? Why is that important? What is the language that's utilized? So for instance, I think everybody would know if I said the will maker, the principal signer, also known as the will maker. That's the guy that signs his own will. But if I said, who's the testator or who's the testatrix, you may not know what that is. Those are legal terms for the same thing as will maker. That's why it's important to have training. That's why it's important to know, even though you're not the attorney creating the will or you're not creating the trust, to understand what these documents are about and what happens before and after the client signs them. Just as we get training for loan documents, and why people who are not trained in loan documents don't do loan documents, right? Because they don't know how to present them. They don't know what they're about. I want you to think of these niches or specialty jobs as you need some kind of training. It doesn't matter. You know what? They made up that training. They made up that name. They made up that certification to support this specialty we call loan signings, right? 20 years ago, none of that existed. They just had nothing. Documents, right? There were the people in the title company, the people at the bank, right? So now we've created this whole niche called loan signings. And then there are organizations that created training so that you could be better at doing it. And today we have not only like the NNA and others who have these courses. They're not just teaching you now how to present these documents or how to work in this industry. They're also looking at the marketing end of it. Well, how do I get better assignments? How do I get more assignments? What's the difference in my relationship with a signing company versus a title company? The more you learn and the more you know, besides being certified on how to present documents in a loan signing, the better appointments you'll get because you'll know better questions to ask, right? You'll know how to speak intelligently to the title company. And you got to ask better questions if you want better money, if you want better appointments.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, yes, I have to agree with all of it. I think a lot of people, you still there, Laura? Okay. A lot of people, okay. So a lot of people get weary of saturation or they get weary of competition. And in my mind, I always tell people, remove the noise and focus on what you want to do. And you drive home what you want to do, because people are always going to talk. People are always going to say something. But as long as your mindset is on the purpose and on your journey, everything else is simple. So I'm going to segue into this question from Monique. Her question is, the local UPS has notaries. How do I compete to provide value?
I love that question. I love it, love it, love it. Because one of the things that has matured over time is my relationship with what I call the private shipping stores. They're not all UPS owned, but there are private ones as well. And so I have two ways. Of course, one, not everybody can do. I teach the mandated training. So all those notaries in the UPS store in my county, who gave them their training? I did. So they know who I am. And when I go in there and I've got to drop off packages, I make sure that I stop. How's it going? Anything challenging for you? And I build a relationship with them because I was able to do that. Now let's talk about ones that maybe they didn't get their training from me. I have two in particular that are my favorites. And I made friends with the manager and with the girls at the counter. And the way I did that is I let them know, you know what? I do hotline work. I teach this stuff. If you ever have an issue with ID or notarization, here's my number. Just call me. I'll help you. Right? Because they're afraid to do it wrong and they're afraid to ask or let their boss know they don't know how to do it. Was the first way I did it. The second way I did it is I said, you know what, manager? Not everybody that calls me is my customer. Not everybody needs mobile service. That's my service. I always ask, if you can go to a shipping center, let me tell you where to go and get it for $15, and you don't need to pay me extra service if you don't need that kind of service. And usually about 3 out of 10, that's their issue. They're like, oh, I just thought you were in office and I could come in. Nope, that's not the kind of thing I am. But you know what? Tell me what part of town you're in, and then I'll direct them to one or the other of my favorites and say, Cheryl's the notary. Tell her I sent you. She will take care of you. You'll just pay the fee. People love that I openly refer work out that are not my customer. So I don't feel I compete with them. They have a certain kind of customer. Their customer only wants to pay $15, wants to come in, take care of it, and go. My customer needs much more than that from me. So we serve different customers. So as soon as they started getting customers from me, right? Guess what started happening? My phone started ringing.
Yes.
Customers that can't come in. They're saying, can you send a notary out to me? No, we got to stay here in the store. We can't go to the hospital. We can't do that. But here's a notary who does that. And I started getting referrals back. And so that's how, see, it's complementary. We have complementary services, and I don't see each other as competition. Now, in the end, one ended up opening her own store about 2 years ago. And so I wanted her to succeed. And I did everything I could to just send her business. I'd come by, what's happening? What can I do to help you grow your business? And you know what? When I did my symposium, this last year it was virtual, but the years before was in person. I needed printing work, and they do printing work. These shipping stores, they do everything. And I said, look, I've got, 100 people. I'm going to need programs. I'm going to need this, that. And she said, I'll do it all for you. And I'm going to do it all for you for cost. For cost. She didn't make a dime. Why would she offer to do that when that's her business? Because for 2 years, I'd been sending her business. I've been supporting her. I've been helping her. That's how you build a relationship. That's how you get more things done. If I call and I say, I'm 5 minutes, I'm almost there. It's 4 o'clock. Is the FedEx guy there? Oh, he's just pulling up the back. Stall him. I'll be there. I've got to get this package dropped. And you know what? She stalls him. So I can walk over and hand her the package. Those are the relationships that make a difference. And you won't get that with every shipping center in your area.
Yes.
But pick a few and focus on them and focus on what good can I bring you?
Yes.
Right? Don't worry about who's getting what customers. What good can I do for you? Because the good will come back. Right? It's karma.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm I'm a strong believer, Laura, of karma. I think for me in my business, IHT Mobile Notary, that I created back in May, I didn't really know what I was doing. All I knew was I was tired of corporate America. I'm tired of somebody telling me what I'm supposed to do and what I can't do, when I'm supposed to clock in, etc. Right? So I found myself seeing an advertisement. I was like, oh, loan signing, you can make XYZ money. Let me jump into it, right? And I found that once I got into it, it's not just about the notarization. It's just not about the stamp. It's about the customer service. It's the connection that you're making with that person. Because to your point, before there was technology, all you had was word of mouth. That's all you had.
Yeah.
So to me, giving away a couple of freebies in order for that person to say, hey, Ty from IHT Mobile Notary, she didn't have to give me this service for free, but she did. And so because of that, I'm going to say, tag, you're it. Hey, go check out Ty. She can help you. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. So I think that was awesome what you said. That was awesome. Okay. So next question, and we're going to get back into some more things. So the next question is from Crystal. She says, Laura, are you doing anything with adoption paperwork? Do you have an adoption paperwork training online? She has someone that's interested.
Okay. So one of my videos is on adoption. Early on, I got caught up in doing adoption work and I loved it because each job could be 3 to 5 months of me going out to different places and because I've done up to 90 notarizations for one adoption over the course of time. And I had to go to their employer, I had to go to their doctor, I had to go to their CPA because they needed all these documents notarized. Plus I spent many hours at their own home notarizing their own statements. And, after these months, and they would show me a picture of the child that they were adopting, I just felt like I was so a part of this process. It was incredible. And one of them, the first one I did, I still get updates with pictures of this child. Most rewarding work. And here's the thing I want people to know. It's okay to be of service and have rewarding work and make a good living. It doesn't have to be an or statement. Okay, I used to give away my work because I thought that's the only way that I could feel of service.
Yes.
Right? I'm always of service and I help other people. So think of it always as an and statement. And the person will love the adoptions. I walk through the different ways I got the work. I walk through what are the kinds of documents that they need to have notarized. I differentiate between domestic and international adoptions. Now, depending on where your friend is, I don't know what the work looks like in her area because certain areas, there's a lot more opportunity than others. So you're going to have to do a little research about that.
Yeah, so that's good. That's a good point. So in every state, right, one state could be good for loan signing versus another state could be just general notary work and your loan signing could be next to nil, right? So if someone's coming new into the notary, the niches that, all these things that we're talking about, how does one discern which one is better than the other? Do you have to link up with someone that's been doing it? Do you have to catch up? Do you have to link up to a mentor? Like, how could someone know what direction to go into if they're new? Yeah.
So I think there are two things. One is, unfortunately, there are a lot of states that allow you to become a notary and they don't teach you the rules. So I think that's the first thing is you need to start looking in your statutes to see, do they target travel fees? Do they say anything that you have to be an attorney to do this, whatever it is? I think that's the first thing. The second thing is you may not know where to look there. So look to somebody who already knows that. So find a notary who's already doing that work to say, hey, can you help me find in the statute, that allows me to do this? Or look at some of the people who are out there, myself, Bill Soroka, Carol Ray. There's a lot of people out there, Ty, and we know this stuff, or we know how to find out the answers. So for instance, I offer free quick calls. You can book a call with me, 15 minutes is your time with me, and you can ask me what you want. And if I don't know it, I will find it for you. And then I can help you with just information. Then you'll need to decide what you feel is better for you. But I think those are the two things. You need to know what you're allowed and find somebody who already knows what they're doing and let them share that with you. And I don't believe there's any competition amongst any of us as well. There are a lot of notaries out there. There are a lot of notaries out there. We all have something of value.
Yes.
Find somebody who does what you want and then, link up with them. Or find somebody whose personality and their style of coaching fits how you like to receive it. Then go with them. There's not a one size fits all. We all bring something a little different, and we all can be of service to people.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Like I've had several clubhouse rooms, and I talk about mentoring and linking up with the right person that connects with you. Because I'm such a big advocate and of pushing other people. So meaning like you, Laura. So when somebody wants to do a discovery call with you, I'm going to say, hey, go to coachmelaura.com, look her up, right? Talk to her. See if she vibes with you. Go to Bill Soroka, go to Julie Lawrence, go to Carol Way, go to me, right? It doesn't matter. You have to find the person that's going to provide you the information and that you have that synergy with. So I think that's so important, what you said. Okay. So let's get to the next question. There's a lot of questions, Laura, so hopefully we have a little bit of time.
Shorten my answers.
Awesome. Okay, so next question is from Sharika. She said she has signed up to several signing platforms last week, and she started getting notifications. She's getting notifications from individual signing companies like Coast to Coast through SnapDocs. Her question is, should she sign up with Coast to Coast on their particular website, or just signing up to SnapDocs will make everything fine?
Well, so two things here. One is not all companies have a method for you to sign up directly. They use their platform. They use the SnapDocs platform to pull their notaries through. So if you have a signing service that allows you to register with them directly, do it. Absolutely do it. But if they don't, they say, hey, you got to go to SnapDocs, then that's your method.
Yeah, so this is what I'll piggyback off of that. I've done a lot of signings through SnapDocs, and a lot of the companies that come through, I don't even know who they are. But for me, in order for me to continue to get business, I'm going to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is Ty. You just sent me a loan signing. I just want to make sure that I'm set up in your system, that you have all my W-9s, you have my insurance, you have my certificate, everything, right? Because to me, I don't want you delaying my money. You know what I mean? I don't want you delaying my money. And so I think even though,
I just want to highlight your point about what do you need to get paid, for me to get paid. When I work with a company the first time, that is my question. I want to know, what do I need to do to get paid? Do you need a sign from me? What do you need? Title companies mostly with this. And so it's really important that when you work for the first time for anybody, what will you need from me so I can get paid at the end of this? Don't be afraid to ask that question.
Yes. And this is, and I'll give you guys something just for SnapDocs. So there's a couple of ways, or 3 ways that I've noticed being in SnapDocs when you do your sign up. So you can do vendor pay, and vendor pay is through, I believe, Stripe. So you have to connect your bank account. So when you do vendor pay, once the loan disperses and it closes, you'll get automatically paid through vendor pay. Or there's e-check, which is deluxe exchange. They send you your checks via e-check. You print it out, or you can deposit it into your check, or they will send you a live check. So those are 3 ways using SnapDocs. But I would always say, if you're signed up on SnapDocs, just make sure that if they do have an individual website, you sign up on there as well. Because typically what they do is when you go through a signing company, they're going to see if you're actually on their platform. And if you're not, Just because you're on SnapDocs, what does that mean, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So next question, Laura. This is from BKM. They want to know, what is field inspection?
Oh, so field inspections, when I was doing it, required me to go out to a, there's residential and there's business, and I did the business ones. I would have to go out to look at the place of business for a mortgager. So I was there to prove this was a real place of business. And of course, some of these mortgage guys, they're doing it out of an extra room of their house. And I drive up to the house. And then I had to take pictures of how they secure documents, their shredder, that the room was actually a whole room, not just an open, like I'm in an open office area right now. They could not have that. That was not allowed. So I had to take, I think, about 3 or 4 different pictures to certify that they had the appropriate setting to be conducting mortgages from there. And I want to say, my gosh, maybe I got paid between $50 and $70. It was a very quick, I had to ask 10 questions, take those few pictures, upload it, and I was done. There was no notarization at all. The other kind of that is out there, and I didn't personally like it, and that is when you go to a house and they want you to give an evaluation, not an inspection really, but an evaluation of, is this good or fair or bad, you know, in your estimation in terms of repair. You had to take pictures from different angles of the house to verify it. Again, probably about a 10-minute, 15-minute appointment. Upload your stuff, fill out the report, and there you go. And again, it was also, you know, maybe $70, $50, somewhere in that pay range. Now, you know, and by the way, now there's one, I've done it, I did it just so I could learn about it, but it's not my thing. And that was DNA testing. So what happens is the person is in a study of some kind, the patient, signer, and so they get this packet and they have to swab their mouth or whatever they have to do, and they want a notary to take possession of it to ship it wherever it's got to go. And they had to ask like 3 questions, have them sign it, put it in with the test kit, and it's like $30. I mean, we're talking 5 minutes, $30.
Wow.
And so, you know, not everything is great paying, but if you can fit in a 5-minute appointment here and a 5-minute appointment here, when you have gaps, what I like about doing specialty work is that some things take as long as a loan signing, and some things are 10 minutes. So I have varying sizes of appointments that allow me to intermix them throughout my day. And I'm not sitting at a table for an hour at a time or more, back to back to back to back all day long. I don't know about you, Ty, but oh man, I just can't do that anymore. I was when I started. So
Yes.
you know, I need the ability to move around, and you know, a 10-minute appointment here, an hour over here, an hour over here. It breaks up my schedule.
Yeah, I will tell you, like I said, I've started my notary consulting and mentoring business. I've done, you know, close to probably 1,000 now signings. And I'm gonna tell you, Laura, it's a lot, right? Because when you, and not to, and all of the mentees that I've mentored and the ones that are trying to come on to my program, I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but I like to be real, right? But when you're a loan signing agent, you don't know what type of environment that you're about to step into. You don't know what type of chaos, right? Yeah. But you're putting yourself at risk going into these different homes. And honestly, you're repeating the same thing. Over time, you start to remember where the loan documents are supposed to be, where's the W-9, where's the Patriot Act, right? Yeah. Over time. But I think that what you said was really, really good. Mixing it up. Right? Not just staying in one single lane of loan signing, but you open up your tool belt to different and multiple streams of income. And there's so much money to create. I'm just saying. So
there really is. You just need to be creative and see. Sometimes you have to deconstruct what is that about. Think about your own life experiences and things that you've had to have done, services by other people. And what did it take? They had to have travel. When I bill a title company, I don't put, $200. I put my fee includes printing 2 sets of documents, traveling to your signer, orchestrating, collection of all the signatures, notarizing certain signatures, scanning if that was required, a notification of status, dropping at the mail depot. Look at all the things you're doing. So I don't want them to see 200. I want them to see, look at everything I did for you for that 200.
Yes.
I think it helps our clients understand what they're asking of us.
Yeah, I think I think it's so important. I mean, I think that a lot of the people that I have mentored and a lot of people that are just coming just to do discovery calls, because to your point, you can just come talk. If you have a question, come ask me a question. It's not that serious, you know, sign up and we'll be good. But I think a lot of people truly don't understand, okay, yeah, you can potentially make 10, 12, 15,000 a month doing loan signing, but you're on the road from dusk till dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have some direct clients, but you would hope that you get direct clients. You have those 5 assignments, that's 175 a piece. But the reality of it is that's not really reality. You know, you're pounding the pavement. You're pounding the pavement. So, and I think that your worth, when you as a loan sign, you have to know your worth. You have to know what your value is. Yes, I think you have to eat it in the beginning, but as you get older, and not older, but repetition, right? You keep doing the same thing over and over again, you'll know your value. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Okay, we have more questions. This is freaking amazing. So again, you guys, I just want to let you know, we're talking about general notary niches with Laura Biewer. She is the founder of the Notary Symposium, one of the hosts of Tuesday Titans. Coach me, Laura. My YouTube comments are not working because I did something wrong, so I apologize. So if you guys have questions, please hit my Instagram, The Abnormal Notary. We'll probably go for another 45 minutes or so, and then we'll end. But if you have questions, just hit my DM on Instagram, The Abnormal Notary. Laura, what are your social media tags? Can you give your social media tags for people?
Yeah, so I do have a YouTube channel, Laura Biewer. Just look me up that way. I have a LinkedIn profile, and my LinkedIn is Laura J. Biewer. That account.
Okay.
And you can book calls with me if you go to if you go to coachmelora.com. You can catch me there. What else do I have?
Awesome.
I have to think about that.
You're everywhere. You're everywhere.
I'm all over the place. And of course you can.
Yeah. And I'm gonna.
I mean, for goodness sakes, just basic email. My email is my last name, Biewer, Biewer @ sbcglobal.net. Call me.
So again, I'm the same way, Laura. Like for me, like when I have the mentees that come into my program, I give them a number to call me, text me. Because you pay for a service, it's just not, I'm going to wait for you to call me. No, I'm checking on you. How are you doing? Do you need anything? Right. So I think people need to understand there's actually genuine people out here that really wants to help you and not take your money. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Okay. So next question. And let's see here. We did that one. Dre. Okay. Here's a question. This is for you, Laura. It says, what do you recommend for seeking work with attorneys, estate planners? And as a notary, what kind of training or knowledge should I have before approaching them for business? And that's from Nora.
Nora, first of all, estate planning attorneys is the marketing term. They're probate attorneys. So that's the first thing you should know. So go research everything. Go Google probate attorneys and what they do. They work both sides of the aisle. They're a probate attorney when somebody doesn't have a trust and they're working through probate court and they're probating wills, right? That's what they're doing there. And if they're lucky enough to sell living trusts ahead of time, then they might be doing the sales of that and the preparation of that and maybe even the administration of that. So that's the first thing I want to tell you. Second thing is, I don't think you're going to find very much formal training out there. The people who know them are already in the business, meaning the attorney, the attorney's legal secretary, I do have training on that. And that is part of my video library. It's one of the niches or specialties that I talk about. It's about 2.5 hours, and it does include the most common documents. I also include a glossary. So what are the common legal terms or legalese? that is used for these kinds of documents. And so I suggest, if it's not mine, find something where you can learn that, so that when you do approach an attorney, you understand what his business is about. You understand what the documents are. You understand that, the will is witnessed. Some states require a attestation clause or a self-proving affidavit, which requires a notarization. What kind is it? It tends to be a jurat or an oath. These are the things that you should know. One of the value-added things I do at the table is I verify what's going on. If he's presenting documents, I listen to his instructions. And when I get the documents, I don't just go to my certificate. I go back and look, did they follow his instructions? And I'm his QA gal. Not only am I doing QA, but I'm usually one of the witnesses for the will or any document that does need witnessing. So I try to do some extra things to make it easier for that attorney who's doing the presenting part. And of course, when I started doing that, I soaked it up like a sponge, so that I could actually market myself just like we do in loan signings. I present those documents. I don't need the attorney in the room. I know what they are. I know how to introduce them without explaining them. I know how to verify to make sure they've been executed in a valid way. And I do the whole 9 yards for them. Now that's a little bit bigger appointment. When I'm with an attorney, it's 40 minutes. When I'm by myself, it could be an hour and 15 minutes, because now I have to do everything. But you can't do everything until you understand what it's about. And that's where you start.
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned about making sure you know your statutes, making sure that you know what you can and cannot do is important before you jump out. Now, I'm going to be 100 with you, Laura. I have no formal training. All I have is the NNA certification. But I'm the type of person that I like to go on Google. I call it Google Streets. I have no problem researching, finding information, putting it together. Same thing for you. Like for my mentees, if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to lie and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to give you a BS answer. No, I'm going to be like, no, I don't know, but I will find out for you and I will come back to you. So I think that that's good, right? So just like Laura, she has her discovery calls. I have my discovery calls, guys, as well on Instagram. You can hit the link in the bio. Talk to me, 15 minutes, whatever. Ask me whatever you want. I'm here for you. Okay. So we have some more questions. Another question is, you have someone in California, Laura, she is in Northern California. One of her questions, her name is Laura as well. Her question is there much work as a permit runner and field inspection in Northern California? So she lives in Pittsburgh, California.
Okay, so I know where you are. I'm in Modesto, California, so I'm Central Valley. And I would say, honestly, I don't know the volume of work there. Here's what you would want to do is check in with construction companies. They're the ones with permits. Pool companies. Think of the companies that require permits, right? They're doing something on your house. They're doing something in your backyard, whatever those industries are, and check with them. They may not even know that that could be available to them and that they don't have to go stand in line. They don't have to go do it. So sometimes it's not already there. It's somewhere else. And you're importing it, you're learning about it, and then you go market yourself as, hey, did you know you don't have to go stand over there? Did you know you could hire somebody to do that? And not just anybody, but a trustworthy person, a notary who understands about documents, about confidentiality, about security of those documents, about going into governmental offices. You don't need to, your time is more valuable spent here doing your business, not standing in line over there. Did you know that there's a service like that available? They may not even know it exists. So you could be like the pioneer over there. But I don't know how many there are there at this moment in time. I just don't have to do it. I'm not checking it out.
Okay. So I call Laura Linda Laura, but her name is Linda from Northern California. So my bad. My bad. Okay, so Linda, she wanted me to tell you that you are her idol and that you are very knowledgeable. So she wanted me to tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Okay. I think we've already answered this question from Jurata. I think that's her name. Do you teach any type of general notary courses? And that would be yes. But if you want to go ahead and expand on that.
Library. Laura Biewer presents. There are 10 there. 3 of them are skill builder. They're really about, do you understand acknowledgments, jurats, signature witnessing, and then and your journal. And then the other ones would be hospitals, living trust, adoptions, aposties, last will and testaments, powers of attorney, healthcare directives. I have one actually on fidelity approval. What is that all about? And how do I get fidelity approved? And what's the difference between signing, service level, and direct level? Because there's a lot of myths out there about that, and hospital and jail work. So those are like the different topics that I have there. And then every year I add a couple more. I have 2 in the works now that will be for 2021. And if you, whatever was in it when you buy it, it's lifetime access, and you get anything I add to it later automatically. Okay. Oh, I can't hear you, Ty.
So that's beautiful. Yeah, because this has been a technical, logical, just disruption day. So it if that's even a word. But I want to tell you, Laura, I appreciate you coming on, regardless of all the technical issues. I think that you have been a pioneer in this industry, and if people are not following you, they should. You have a wealth of information. So I'm going to segue into this. Laura has graciously stated that she will give away 2 of her Laura Biewer Presents replay. Is that correct? In the library, right?
Right.
Can you expand just a little bit on that? And before she does that, as you guys know, it is important that you engage. It's not just because you're showing up or whatever. I need you to engage to make sure that what I'm providing you is valuable content. Don't just do it because it is. So with my giveaways, I need for you guys to be engaged. You subscribe to all of my platforms. And then, yeah, I'll get you to Laura and she'll get you what you need. So Laura, to you, can you explain a little bit about your training library replay?
So there's Zoom calls that were done live with participants, and each one has a different specialty that I go in depth and I talk about, well, what is it? So you might think somebody needs a document handled at a hospital. What's so special about that? That just sounds like general work. But what you're not thinking about is, what do you need to know to operate in that hospital? Do they have times you're not allowed? Do they have requirements for you to check in? How do I even get that kind of work? How do I stand out from other notaries? I use teaching. That's my method. And I actually include a slideshow that I developed, unbranded, so anybody can put their own brand on it, make it their state's requirements, and make it their own. So each one, I talk about what it is, what's special about that. If it was important to show you these kinds of documents, I have the sample documents like powers of attorney, healthcare, last will. Those are actual documents I'll share with you. Living trust documents. Hospitals, I will talk about the documents. And then I talk about, well, here's how I find this kind of work. And here's how I set up my pricing schedule. So this is kind of the format for each different specialty. And like I said, 7 of them are specialties, 3 of them are about being competent. What's really important to me is that as you expand into specialty areas, that you stay compliant with your state laws and that you expand your knowledge beyond filling out a certificate.
Yes.
I mean, that's just so important. We are not in a vacuum. And the power of our stamp and our certificate, remember, it's not just a bunch of words. You are certifying every sentence of that certificate. You are saying this happened exactly so. And so it's really important. And property can be revoked, or transferred. We have big impact. And so, I like to think as a notary, I heard this phrase and I loved it. And it was small hinges swing big doors. If you haven't heard that, small hinges swing big doors. That little certificate is the difference of me owning the property or you owning the property. That certificate is the difference between not having a child and adopting a child. So I want you to think about the impact of what you do. That's why it's so important to be good at what you do. So that's what I'm about, is to try to help everybody to be the best of whoever you are. I don't want you to be me.
Yes.
I want you to be the best of who you are and bring what lights you up, right? This is what lights me up. This is what I love. but it may not be what you love. You may say, you know what? I don't feel comfortable. There's sick people there. I don't want to go. Don't do that kind of work. Do some other kind of work, right? Pick and choose what's good for you. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is give you options. And that's what this program's about. And you can watch them and rewatch them as many times as you want, right? There's no restrictions on it. You've got it forever. And I continue to add to it. So if you're interested in specialty work, you're interested in knowing more than just the certificate part, then I'm your gal. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you do buy,
thank you, Laura. I mean,
I just want to say, if you do choose to purchase it, right now it's $127, but I will give you a coupon code to discount it for you since you're on Ty's call today. So if you're on Ty's call today, then you'll get a 15% discount, which is about $18 off of the price. And that coupon code I'm going to borrow for today. Many of you are TNT or Notary to Pro. I'm going to give you the TNT. If you use that as the coupon code, you'll get that discount for that. Okay. Plus the 2 we're giving away.
Lord, yes. Listen, this is what I love. Like, if people are not following me on Instagram, the Abnormal Notary, the Clubhouse, everythingtye, giveaways is everything to me. I think that when folks like yourself, Laura, and Bill Soroka and Sue Hope, you guys are so gracious to give away items that honestly, you don't have to. And I appreciate you. I appreciate Bill. I appreciate Sue Hope. I appreciate all you, Jude, all of you guys. I think it's amazing. So I'm gonna, after this call, I'm gonna get with you, Laura, so I can get all the details so I can plug it on my socials so people know. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of more questions, you guys, and we're going to end because I'm still having technical difficulties, but I'm hoping you guys are hearing the information that Laura has been dropping. Again, please follow her on all of her social medias. Please follow me, the Abnormal Notary, on all my social medias. And yeah, let's keep going. The next question is from Jennifer. She says, I'm a new notary and would like to know, will I be able to do general notary work from home full time, and in what niche?
So, right now, mine is about 80-20 split. So about 80% of the work I do is general. Now, I could make it 100%, but I do like I've already invested in being a loan signing agent and all those credentials. So I like to keep that open. And I just cherry pick the best assignments to take in that area. Yes, you can do this full time. And you can, when you say from home, what I think you mean is your business office is from home, but you cannot, or I would not suggest that you're trying to provide the service from your home, because that's not the service you're offering. The service you're offering is the mobility to come to them at a Starbucks, at their office, at their home, at the hospital, at wherever it is, when and where they need the service. Because if they've got to travel anywhere to you, they might as well go to the bank or go to the shipping center, the UPS store. Why would they pay for that extra service? So I hope that's what you're meaning. Yes, full time, but you're going to be going out to all these different places to perform those notarizations. So I hope I understood the question correctly.
Yeah, I think you answered the question, Laura. And Jennifer, if the question wasn't answered, please let me know, but I think she answered the question for you. All right. Who else? Okay, so I just want to let you know, Laura, I've already given the 2 replays away. The first was to Beautiful Signatures. Her name is Elise Johnson. And the next one is, I'm waiting for her to respond to me, is Jennifer Mabin. Okay, I'm giving that the other gift to her. All right. And as Laura mentioned, if you're watching the show, she's given a discount. I will begin with Laura again so I can post it out so you guys know what that's going to be. And yeah, we'll just keep going. I think we have one more question, a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay. The next question is, we just answered that one. A lot of people are just saying awesome. So let's see if I can get these people up here. My connection's so bad right now. This is from Terry Butler. Thanks so much. Really valuable information. I'm a notary in LSA. Rethinking the direction I should take. So I guess that's a really good question, Laura. So a lot of people get into this community or the notary community, and there's so many directions that one should take. I say that you find, in my humble opinion, you find a passion that you like, you drill down into it, and you become the master of it. Once you feel like you're good, then move on to the next. But I think there's so many areas one could get in. How do you try to calm their mind from a perspective of, okay, I know I need to eat, I know I need to make money, I know I need to provide for my family, but how can I do that and rest my mind that it is going to work, I am going to make money, if that makes sense?
So to calm the mind. Well, first of all, I'm in agreement. I think that the choices you make are about what lights you up, what you have a passion for, because you're going to be more open with that. You come into it with an open heart and an open spirit because it's what moves you. And so I started with hospital work because I worked with the elderly, and I went to hospice and became a registered volunteer, and I did all their free notarizations where I went into their home and I spent time with people that are in their last days of life. That moved me. And I didn't make any money doing that. But you know what? Here's where the money came. And here's why I think money is a byproduct. It's not the goal. Is that I didn't charge anything for that service. But people were so taken that I would come when they needed it most into their space and be helpful to them. Later on, I'd get a call 6 months later, a year later, because somebody else in their family needed notarization, or the hospice center itself hired me to do notarizations for their business, the business end of hospice, right? So the thing is that I did what I loved first, and it brought me the opportunities, for business second. And so that's my first thing is think about what you love, what lights you up. Think about the work you're doing today as the hood ornament on the car. That's what's right in front of me. I'm doing loan signings. I'm making money right now doing loan signings. So what's out in front of the hood ornament? What's further out the road? That's what I want to start thinking about. I mentioned about 7. Maybe there's 2. Maybe you think that living will stuff sounds good to me. All right, so then that's what you want to find out about first. That's what you want to learn about. That's what you want to start getting involved in before you worry about going to hospitals or doing anything else. Some of that will come haphazardly anyways, but what I'm talking about is targeting it, proactively setting yourself up for success and for business in that area. That is very different than, oh, I got called for a trust signing today. It just haphazardly happened for you. It doesn't mean you're going to get another one, right? The only way you're going to get another one is you need to target that. So target one thing at a time. Target as, am I good at what I do now? What I do now maybe be loan signings. Now, what's the next thing I want to start spending my time researching when I'm not out there making my money? So I can be as good at that as I am at this. And then I'll add another one. And then I've been doing this 17 years. I wasn't good at all this stuff in year 1.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. I think Laura, one can only aspire as much information that you have gathered and researched and put together and formulated to bring to the masses so they are learning in the same tonality as you are. I think it's amazing. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, unfortunately, the chat, you guys are pinging me on Instagram, and I appreciate you guys. You guys don't know how much I love you, love each and every one of y'all. I mean that just because of who you are. So I can't see the comments. I know you guys want to see each other's comments, but you can't. You guys are pinging me on Instagram, so I appreciate you. There's really no other questions that I'm seeing coming across, Laura. Let me just make sure before I end here. Okay. What I like to do before I end is I like to give people a little bit of motivation. Okay. Because I believe that as a new notary, as a new loan signing agent, we can get into this thing that we call life, and we can lose who we are as a person. Meaning, we can get into Facebook groups, we can talk to other people, and our minds are just so scattered because we don't know what's left, what's right, which mentor we should go to, which training program we should go to. Can you just give a little bit of motivation to end this I guess amazing conversation that you can share with people that they can take away? Be like, you know what? I made the right decision. I listened to Ty, I listened to Laura, and they gave me life. So if you can give somebody life today, that would be amazing.
So here's just a couple things that make me light up and bring me joy and help me to integrate the fact that I'm doing work, but the work that I do, I love. And one of them is just starting out. When you start out in the morning, when my feet hit the ground, the first thing I do is I start with gratitude. Thank you that I have another day and that I was able to get up on these 2 feet to get it started. And from there, I look at some affirmations. And the affirmations might be, what is it I can do today to bring joy into my life or bring joy into somebody else's life? And then from there, I look at language, and words are so powerful. And so I practice, because I'm not perfect yet. Notice I said yet, and that's my practice. So it's hard.
I saw that, yes.
Instead of focusing on it's hard, until now it was hard. See, I just change around my wording. And if you look at your language, from I need this to I would love, right? I need you to do this versus I would love if you would do this. Instead of I'm going to try, I'm going to do it. Instead of saying to my customer, no worries, no problems, I say it's my pleasure. So when they say thank you, it's very common for us to say, oh, no problem, no worry. But a better answer might be, it's been my pleasure. And when you're looking at price or cost, I look at what's the investment, right? Because we have to invest in ourselves.
I like that. I like that.
And the other thing that I love is and. My life is about ands. I work and I play, right? I give service, right? And I make a good living. So turn your life into an and statement. It's okay to have everything. It is okay.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
So I hope so.
Yes, that was beautifully said, Laura. I couldn't have said it better. I actually do have one question. I'm gonna end on me, and then we'll close the broadcast. So Marty Sheldon is in California. Let me see if I can pop it up on the screen. I've been having crazy technical issues. Okay, so this Turat's supposed to be Turat. So they're basically saying in California, the wording isn't correct. So is it okay to attach a notarial certificate, notarial jurat, and put on the original document, hey, the wording isn't correct, please see attached? Is that okay to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, there's more than one way to handle it. Your way is perfectly fine and typical. See attached certificate, put your own certificate there. Another way I handle it is I have a wording stamp, a jurat wording stamp. And if there's enough white space on the document, I stamp it with my words, fill them out, and put my seal next to it. And then I don't have to have an extra paper or write see attached. But either way works.
Listen, you just hit something, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Laura, I have been on the fence about buying jurat acknowledgement stamps. Because I'm just afraid, like maybe, wording whatever, but I believe is based upon this specific requirements of what's supposed to be on that. So you just confirmed to me, I'm going to throw away my paper. I'm going to stop wasting paper and stamps that has the acknowledgement jurat.
We already kill trees, so let's not add to it.
Too much.
And you can get those made anywhere. Right, the NNA sells them, but you can get them made anywhere. Just verify the wording is correct. You're good to go.
Yes, and I would tell y'all. What'd you say, Laura?
I said, then you're good to go.
I can't hear you. Okay, yeah. Exactly. So for my stamps that I use and all that is anchorstamp.com. Anchorstamp.com does they provide per state the stamps. And the wording based upon the state's requirements. Okay, so anchorstamp.com is amazing. Okay, we're going to end. Sharika, Terry, Tiffany, everybody, Marty, I appreciate you guys for joining. I know I had a lot of technical issues. The chat was turned off, but as I keep doing this, we'll get better. I have interviews lined up all to description, I put join the TAN tribe, which is the Abnormal Notary Tribe, or the Abnormal Notary Tribe. The it's called dedicated to his name. So if you subscribe, you guys will be involved in all the live events. My new podcast is coming out, giveaways, so on and so forth. So it's in the description. Make sure you subscribe. And Laura, I think that's it. I look forward to talking with you again, right? Be amazing. So I appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody for showing up. I appreciate you. All right. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Bye.